All right, and we're back here once again. Another Thursday night under lights edition of Couch Coach Live. What's going on, Maui?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Not much, man. Just grinding through these previews. And once again, we're here on a Thursday night under lights here as we continue our NFL divisional series. Tonight we'll be talking about the NFC South. So we'll be talking about the Atlanta Falcons, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Carolina Panthers, and New Orleans Saints. We'll talk about that tonight. We are in. This is our 6 out of 8 previews that we got coming up. So we are almost at the final stretch of our preview. So we're back at it here once again tonight. So we'll hit the intro. We'll be right back here on Couch Coach Live. And we're back here on Couch Coach Live. Our 11th annual Couch Coach Live NFL preview continues, and it is powered by SeatGeek. Head over to SeatGeek.com. Use the promo code CouchCoach. Get yourself $10 off. $20 off your first purchase by using SeatGeek. So, as we talked about it earlier in the tease, we got the NFC South tonight. So, and we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Carolina Panthers, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, with that being said, we're actually going to start off with the actual champions of the NFC South, which was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of last season. They won the NFC South last season. So, an interesting question to note for this team. Can the Buccaneers become contenders in the NFC?
I put yes, but the more and more I did work, I'm I feel like everybody in this division got a bunch of question marks, and to me, they have maybe because we know what they are. They don't have as many question marks, I guess you could say. I think the main thing is will Baker Mayfield lead them there? But he got paid. He got his 3 years, $100 million. So for the next 3 years, they believe that they have the best chance they can with Baker Mayfield. They brought back majority the whole roster. They brought in Graham Burton. The defense is about the same. It's not much you really could say about this division. Some people say this is the worst division in the NFL, but it's really every time we do this, it's hard to really say like each team, they can't do it. There's a possibility. I think I can see them maybe second round, maybe, or I don't know. Like Baker Mayfield, one thing I'm going to say he's a big game type of guy, and if he has an opportunity, he can get him there. But deep down, I'm going to say no. I think there's another team. They spent the money, and I think they're actually going to be the ones that we're going to be saying can be a contender in the NFC. So I'm saying no.
Yeah, I'm going to say no as well because and I'll kind of go to that point as well too. I think what's going to probably hinder Baker potentially in this situation this year with Tampa is probably the loss of Dan Canales. I think losing him, I think was a huge for him because obviously now he's the coach of the Carolina Panthers, and we'll talk about the Carolina Panthers momentarily. Right. I look at that where he kind of got to that stage where he was a legitimate quarterback, a 4,000-yard passer in his league, led them to the playoffs, actually beat actually beat Philadelphia last season.
Right.
They are a team. I put it this way: they could be. I don't necessarily think they'll be contenders. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, and I think it's only because of the Atlanta Falcons, and which we'll talk about them momentarily. I think with the Atlanta Falcons,
later,
yeah, I think if this, as far as that situation in Atlanta is a little bit greater than what's going on here in Tampa, but I still think Tampa, they will be contenders inside this division. I'm not saying that they could, they're not a team if they were to get that, which I think in all honesty, whoever wins this division is going to get that 4th seed. I think they're probably going to end up playing that to kind of tease, my playoff positioning. But maybe you might be playing the Commanders or you might be playing the Dallas Cowboys at home. So it's kind of one of those where you just don't know how that's all going to work out, So, and I think, more likely, maybe Dallas probably be in that 5th slot. So I look at it from that standpoint. If Tampa was be in that predicament yet again. But yeah,
right.
I do like Tampa. I mean, definitely, what they got. And kind of a guy that's kind of who I thought was going to retire. And I was shocked to see him on a depth chart was Sterling Shepard. I literally thought he was going to retire last year, but he's back and he's reunited with his former teammate at Baker Mayfield those days in Oklahoma. So I look at that. Obviously, you still got Mike Evans. He continued to stay because he was kind of one of the hot commodities going into free agency, and they signed him. And they also got Alwyn still there. I mean, defensively, still, obviously with our guy Todd Bowles, like I always sing his praises.
Right.
Number 23 in your programs for the Washington Redskins at 2 bowl year, but number 1 in your hearts, definitely Todd Bowles. So I look at like that defense, what they got there. Obviously, like I've always been a huge fan of Vita Vea. So what he's seeing what he's gonna do coming up. And then obviously still got Levante David there. And then you just look at even their secondary. I do like, obviously, Antoine Whitfield Jr. So I definitely think they definitely have great pieces on this Tampa Bay team. But as far as a NFC contending, no, not unfortunately, no. I think they will. If they were to make the playoffs, it would probably be a one and done, and they get that 4th seed, like I mentioned. I could, that could potentially happen. So yeah, I don't think they're necessarily all contenders in this for sure. All right.
Right.
And it's always funny, like how when I think about these divisions, you're like, okay, what questions can kind of be conjured up? If you would sit here, if we did the NFC South 48 hours ago, we probably would have talked about the impact of Kirk Cousins and just other things about this Atlanta Falcons team.
Right.
But yesterday we had a somewhat of a blockbuster trade. As a blockbuster trade for the Atlanta Falcons, may not be so for the New England Patriots. But Matthew Judon, formerly from the Patriots, and it's kind of one of those where it was awkward during training camp where you see Judon is there, and it's just like, it's like, okay, what's next with Matthew Judon? But now we know Matthew Judon is now with the Atlanta Falcons, and he only got traded for a 3rd-round draft pick, and I think every team was looking like that's all it took. But we'll talk about we'll talk about those specifics momentarily. But let's talk about just your Matthew Judon impact on the Falcons. What you got?
Extreme impact. Like before he got there, to me, you could easily say the Bucs might win again. Even though they got Kirk Cousins, it's still, no disrespect to Kirk, but Baker Mayfield has won playoff games. You know what I mean? So I could look at the Bucs might have a good chance, but having Matthew there, come on. Like, I know he had a bad year last year, but he had I think his forearm was hurt or something like that. But I mean, man, what is it? I think it's 66 for 7 years. He's played in the league for 7 years from Baltimore and with the Patriots. 66 sacks in 2020 and 2021. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, what could I say? Like, with everything else that's got going on in the team, I think it's going to be impact. I mean, I think they've been looking for a rusher, a pass rusher, since 2016. What was his name? Vic Beasley or something like that?
Yeah, yep. Last double
Yeah,
digit sack.
so
Yeah,
like
first one double, yep.
yeah, like this first time they had a pass rush of double digit sacks. And like, I mean, definitely, with now from a defense standpoint, they them elevated them. I'm like, they the team. They're the team that should be winning that division and make a good run in the playoffs, especially NFC contender. Like with Cousins, they got Heineke, Cousins, Michael. You know what I'm saying? Penix Jr. I mean, a new coach. BJ Robinson, like Drake London, Darnell Mitchell. Like, I mean, they're gonna be all right. I can't wait to watch the Falcons, man.
Yeah. Matthew Judon is what the doctor ordered for this defense.
Right.
And we even talked a little bit about their former defense coordinator that's now, I think, fast forward, where did he go? But anyway, I digress about that point. But yeah, he's definitely someone that's definitely going to give a guy an opportunity that's going to give you double-digit sacks. The last one, like you mentioned earlier, was Vic Beasley in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
You look at just him, then also the sneaky acquisition that they got today, and Justice Simmons, the safety from Denver.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at that, and then he'll be on the other side with Jesse Bates. So
6 interceptions. Yep.
Yeah, from Cincinnati last season. So it's kind of this defense is definitely going to be much improved, especially. And I look at just how this division, you look how he'll be able to get to guys like Baker Mayfield, Bryce Young, and then also Derek Carr. So that team, that defense is going to be hungry, and I do like what Terry Fontenot and the new head and Raheem Morris, they going for it. I think that's the beauty thing about what that they've made these two moves. I think to me shows you, hey, we were 7-10 last year. Even at 7-10, we were still almost, was, two 3 games short of making it in the South. So now you make those type of moves, and it just shows you, hey, we're not just rebuilding. And, and then the beauty thing about them, now they're starting to have those emerging young stars potentially, where you look at Drake London. So you look at him where he's definitely probably, a good young talent. And Bijan Robinson, he's literally the potentially the Christian McCaffrey of the East Coast, potentially. So I definitely think in that dynamic offense. And then I think you look at it just from that standpoint, obviously, with because I think Zach Robinson, their offensive coordinator. I think Zach Robinson is their coordinator. So he comes from that Raheem Morris tree. So you look at it from that standpoint, and I think it'll definitely help Kirk having all those type of weapons. So I definitely think they have a guy, Kirk Cousins, on the offense end that's going to help them offensively, help them move the ball, and then you also had that force defense, that good defense with the Falcons that they haven't had in quite some time. They're a team where I definitely think if they are, because I think they will probably get the 4th seed and will host a playoff game. So I think I can see them beating Dallas. I think potentially, I think if Dallas is the 5th seed yet again, and potentially, it depends on how everything plays out. I mean, I'm not trying to say this team may make the NFC Championship game. It has that type of making
easily.
You never know, because you never really know, because I know they can get through the first round. The only thing is going to be getting through the divisional. I think they can win a wild card game at home. It's more so can they go on the road. And Kirk Cousins, to his credit, he has won on the road once upon a time. People kind of fail to forget that he was that guy once upon a time. So I definitely think the Falcons, I'm not saying that I think they're going to make the NFC Championship, but I think they got a legitimate shot. I think they could either –
a good chance.
I don't know how it plays out, because I have everybody slotted already, but I just haven't looked at the matchups yet. From what I'm thinking, I think they on my side, I think they got a favorable potential run. Because I think I do have them beating Dallas. I think Dallas is my 5th seed, and I don't want to tip off what next week's NFC East preview, but I kind of had Dallas staying at 5th potentially. So, this is going to be this will be a good Falcons team. It's going to definitely be one where, and I just give them a whole lot of credit of just really saying, "Hey, we're going all in. We're not sitting and waiting." Especially when you got these young emerging playmakers on your team. Don't waste their time. Get them with some veteran guys, and with Pitts, I think that's another one where I think Kyle Pitts could emerge yet again. And I've always kind of been waiting for Kyle Pitts to kind of emerge, especially now I think with a guy like Kirk Cousins. I definitely think that helps. And I think when I look at last year, and Falcons fans probably will agree, like, what the hell was Arthur Smith doing with this, which is now your offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh? What he was doing, as far as, those not utilizing those playmakers like he should. Right. But I definitely think Zach Robinson definitely get them in good positions and get them going for sure. So I definitely think
the beautiful thing of having Matthew there, Jodun, and how you pronounce his last name? Jodun. Judon. Yeah. I think having him playing with Baltimore and playing with the Pats, I think there's going to be some pride there and definitely some type of discipline. So you have being in Atlanta, Atlanta could be a fun place and a lot of distractions, but them putting, having Kirk Cousins there, having Heineke there, having this new quarterback there. Heineke's still there, right? I could have swore I seen that Heineke was still there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So having those three, so you got 3 quarterbacks. You got three quarterbacks. You got a young one that's I'm sure they saying it's the future, but you got Heineke that's won a division before, the NFC East before, and you got Kirk Cousins, and then you got Matthew there on the defense, and you just it's a lot of. I just think it's really like one of them teams that's really, really balanced. And I love teams that pay people. I love people that wants to win. Let me go get these players that's go set up for these younger guys. And, I think some teams that we feel like have success, that's some of the issue is that they don't have a lot of vets. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really, like I said, I would if they wouldn't have made these moves, man, I would have felt like the Bucs win a division again, and especially paying Baker and being able to pay Baker, and then Evans coming back, like you said, Shepard. I'm like, man, well, shoot, it's an open door, but they putting their money where their mouth is, and was like, hey, man, we're gonna get these guys in here, and we just go say, hey, we letting y'all know we're gonna take this division. I don't really, you know what I mean? I mean, I know we got some other teams to talk about, but hands down, man, if they don't at least win in division, that's not good. You know what I mean? Something ain't right. It doesn't make any sense. Why do you think they let Matthew leave so cheap like that?
Well, I mean, I think it's just the Patriots. I think the Patriots are in full rebuild mode. And I think it's kind of one of those things where it's like, why waste his productivity on that team and go somewhere where you're competitive? Because I mean, and we'll talk about the Patriots next week, and it's a colossal failure in New England. Like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I think we might be
trying to sell the team
for a few years. I've heard there's some.
Could have swore I've seen something. Yeah,
it would be the perfect time to do it because they're spiraling in more ways than one. But it just made sense. I mean, that's especially when you're a team of that nature, you gotta get rid of a guy like that where it's really even him being around kind of during training camp was a little awkward to some. Obviously, him being on the sidelines because he wants a bigger deal. So it's the Patriots they had to do it, and it made sense. But
well, they did he's looking to get, what is it? I seen something. I might have read it wrong. What, 6.5 million or something? Or that's what he stands to make his last year.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much he's asking for, but I know he wanted something like long term,
Right.
and then obviously with the Patriots, that's not long term.
Right.
Especially this, but yeah. So we gotta talk about the New Orleans Saints. So obviously, this is a fairly interesting team. This is another team that kind of, was in that NFC mix for quite NFC South mix a little bit late in the in the December time frame where they were, kind of compete also for NFC South championship berth last year.
Right.
But, so we gotta talk about New Orleans Saints. So are the Saints dark horse in the NFC South?
I said no. And I don't have much to put in because that's why I'm saying no. I mean, I think they're just like, I know some people like Carr, and Carr's he's a good quarterback, but I think the team is just like him, very inconsistent. Like everybody got paid. Like Carr got his big contract, Kamara got his big deal. Was it was it Ryan Kirkpatrick? How you say his last name? He is out for the season.
For
Ryan Ramick. Saints.
Oh, you talking about the
O-line? But they got
O-lineman?
Yeah. It says, was it Ramick?
I think it's
anyway. It's something like that. He's out for the season. You got Kamara's got his, like I said, his big deal. You got I don't know, man. It's like, I mean, you would think they would be because it seemed like there's a majority of players are like, we need to win right now type of feel, but I don't really feel like, Chris Avery, I don't really feel, I don't really see anything. I think a lot of those guys need to be like, I think some of those players might need to go to another place so they could be rejuvenated. I think I just don't feel it. So I'm going to say no. And I think no offense, I really think it's because, Carr, I feel like he's very inconsistent. Just like when he was with the Raiders, he was very inconsistent. Like he had a lot of drama, but he's always been inconsistent.
I'm gonna actually, in a strange way, I'm gonna say yeah. I think they are somewhat of a dark horse, but I think it's more so if there are situations where there's like, if the Falcons and also the Bucks have somewhat of an injury bug or something kind of goes wrong,
I'll give you that.
South.
I'll give you that.
Pun intended.
Right.
Pun intended. I think when I look at this Saints team, and obviously with Derek Carr, obviously, like you said, inconsistency. I'm curious now because now you bring in somewhat of a wrinkle from the 49ers. You bring in Kubiak as their offensive coordinator. He was there, I think for the San Francisco, he was like the pass game coordinator. So you look at kind of like how, as far as his development of Brock Purdy. So you look at, can he do that? And also, obviously, Clint Kubiak was also a part of that prolific offense with San Francisco as well. So it's kind of one of the things. I don't expect this to be a Drew Brees, Sean Payton prolific type of offense.
Right.
That's not what I'm envisioning. But I definitely think they would be improved. I think last year they were like 14th in scoring. Yeah, they're 14th in scoring last season. I don't necessarily say I think they'll be a top 10 team, but I think they'll be verging right at that point potentially. I think that acquisition of getting him will be good for Derek Carr. So I look at that. You still got good playmakers on both sides. I mean, playmakers. Obviously, I think you look at Chris Olave. You don't have to worry about I always put them Ohio State guys. They produce. I mean, I think we've talked about multiple of those in our previews. I think everybody who's had a Ohio State wide receivers pretty much we kind of talked about on the preview. And Did I definitely think that they was able to show up their offensive line? They ended up getting the left tackle in the draft. Like we talked about that nice duo, Alvin Kamara and also Jamal Williams. I like that that duo there. And obviously, I think when you look at defensively, there's still some dogs there. I mean, obviously, you got Cam Jordan. I think he's been very consistent. Marshawn Lattimore. I think he's. I know there was some issues contract wise, but he's playing, so he's on the depth chart. So he's playing. So I'll put it that way. Also you got Tyrann Mathieu. I do like the rookie acquisition of getting Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama. I definitely like, and I know a lot of people don't look at SEC guys, SEC defensive guys, especially from the quarterback position, DBs that don't amount to much. But I do like that pick for the Saints. I think even coming into the draft, he was somebody that people were looking at him real high and able to get him. I think he was even for early second or what have you. But so we're here. So let's see what we got here. Some comments. You're so bad, so boring, but you're watching. So thanks for tuning in. So if we're so boring, we're boring, then hey, you're watching. Because if you're bored, you wouldn't watch it. So thank you. Appreciate the compliment. But yeah, I think if Tampa Bay or Atlanta stumbles, something crazy happens.
Word. I mean, that's anything. Yeah.
Dark horse. I wouldn't necessarily think they will. I'll put it this way: they'll make it competitive towards the end. When it's all said and done, I definitely think they'll be playing meaningful football in December and January that way. So that would be kind of my answer to them being a dark horse.
Right. But I just think that, like I said, I think it's the quarterback. But we'll talk about that when we do the what's the name.
Okay. You gonna say something? Be good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So we'll shift our focus a little bit, a little bit south as far from a record standpoint, not geographically, but from a record standpoint. We gotta talk about the Carolina Panthers. Let's talk about the Carolina Panthers momentarily. So obviously we know Bryce Young, the former number 1 overall pick in 2023 NFL draft. Will Bryce Young emerge in his sophomore season? What you got?
I'm going to say yes. And I think you basically already kind of answered the question a little bit earlier because he got the QB fixer. What's my man's name? Dave Cannells. That's how you pronounce his last name. But he has such a great offensive mind. He's helped Geno Smith and he's helped Baker Mayfield. So I mean, I'm happy they got him. You know what I mean? I'm sure Bryce Young saw how everybody was doing their thing last year, like from Love and AJ. So I'm happy that they drafted him and they're willing to put somebody there because I think the biggest thing they were complaining about is that he was a short QB, but having this guy there, like Baker Mayfield's not tired, and Geno Smith, everybody thought he was done. You know what I mean? So, but he still got some. He still got some weapons. You know what I mean? Marshall Johnson, Jonathan Brooks, Xavier Legette, Tavon, and Cleveland. You know what I mean? But I just feel like him motivated. Like to me, that's not bad. Like he played 16 games. I was shocked. I thought he had got hurt. I was like, but he's still 28. His passing yards 28, 77, 10, 11 TDs, 10 interceptions. You know what I mean? His passer rating was horrible. So at least they got people around that's going to work with him. And I think it's a lot of pressure. He was the number 1, draft pick, but still a lot of pressure, man, to like take over the Panthers like that, man, especially with all the drama and stuff that they've had over the years. But he's supposed to be an America worker, and then whether they were what and then the record that they have, like, I'm just happy. So me personally, I think he's going to make a major impact, and they definitely got somebody behind him that's going to help him make that impact. So to be honest with you, well, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, and now he gets the coach that wants him. I think obviously,
Right.
And then and and it's kind of one of those things. Obviously, we knew as far as Frank Wright, Josh McCown, and the brass. They love CJ Stroud. I mean, that was
right.
That wasn't like when people think. Like people thought that was like a foreign concept. I'm like, it was written all over their face. I mean, they had dinner with the young man and all kind of stuff. So it was kind of like I remember like going to that combine. It's like we all knew that they love CJ Stroud, and obviously CJ Stroud ended up going to Houston, and hence kind of in a sense where Dave Tepper kind of hit that switch with this Panthers team. But now you get a guy that really wants him and Dave Canales. And obviously I know a lot of people look at him because, okay, yeah, he's fairly young. He's, just pretty much an offensive coordinator. And, just kind of one of those things where it's just like, a lot of people just look at him as an improvement. But, it's a lot of things go into that. But I definitely think, like you said, the development of Geno Smith and then also a Baker Mayfield who almost, if many people are almost similarly comparing them to the two, as far as their first round, where really didn't necessarily live up to expectations, because obviously we know, especially when you're a first round pick, especially in this day and age, it's got to be results proven. And then now you think to yourself, I'm not saying that he's going to compare, but I know the media's going to look at what CJ Stroud is doing, and then B, Caleb Williams, because essentially you gave up essentially that because obviously they had to trade up to get Bryce to Tampa, I'm not Tampa Bay, but to Carolina last year. And what they had to sacrifice, a 2024 first round pick that ended up becoming the number 1 overall pick, hence Caleb Williams. So it's kind of one of the holes where, he'll be looked at from media circles. I wouldn't say necessarily like this will be something that CJ has to worry about, but I know a lot of people will compare it too, because you think, oh, you really could have had, you could have had CJ or Caleb Williams. Right. But that's here nor there.
They did that last year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What you mean?
Right. I mean, they did that last year. They was comparing. They was comparing. Like, man, you shouldn't have. They should have waited. They probably should have got Stroud. You're right. My bad. I'm just, being a hype man.
But I mean it more so now because you add another wrinkle now with Caleb Williams, because you could have got Caleb Williams. Right. You know what I mean? Like, just what I'm saying. Like, as far as now you add to the wrinkle, because now we compare them really to two quarterbacks in that sense. The only thing. Their running back committee is kind of shaky at best. I mean, I like Chuba Hubbard. He's there. And also Miles Sanders. Mm-hmm. I think they can kind of get some stuff done there offensively. But I mean, as far as from the run game. But I like that. And obviously, we talked about your boy Deontay Johnson. He's there. So hopefully he can kind of get himself back together, at least at least to be a formidable wide receiver alongside of Adam Thielen on the slot, and then also Xavier Legette. So they're kind of interesting. And then you look at this defensively, you still got Derek Brown there on the edge. So you look at him, and then also you got Jadeveon Clowney, who he's another one where if we talk about a potential redeem story, in a sense, because he did a hell of a job in Baltimore last year. Can he kind of return that? Because he was also a number 1 overall pick in his back in the day. And then also still, obviously they lost a lot defensively. I mean, you think to yourself, Frank LeVou, who's playing in Washington, Then also Brian Burns, he's gone. So it's kind of one of those where you look at they lost a lot of guys on that team, but you also still have Shaq Thompson there and also J.C. Horn to help their secondary. So I think you will definitely see a vast improvement, especially from Bryce Young. I don't necessarily think the sky has fallen as many people would think because of just said success of CJ Stroud, which I mean, it's always gonna happen. It's unfortunate that he will always be compared to him, and it's crazy because all of it, and then they're used to it because I was like, those are California kids, so obviously they've always kind of have been kind of neck and neck anyway. As far as when it comes to just how people, as far as the comparison, they'll always be compared to each other, obviously because of just the geographical implications, and then now being the number 1 pick and then number 2 overall pick. So yeah.
Man, they was 2-15. They was saying they couldn't even sell tickets. They was like people really turned their back, and then I think the owner and all them have to understand they had Cam Newton I know that was a long time ago, but that's really the expectations that they want. They want somebody to, be a phenom that could take them somewhere. You know what I mean? So like you said, they missed out because they probably could have got Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Or Stroud, like you said. You was right. You're right.
Yeah,
but there's been so much craziness going on, and it's been so much crazy though in that organization. It's been that's been going on at the organization about 10 years. All the drama they've been going through.
I mean, even if you want to even date back to the late J.R. Richardson, I mean, you probably about a good 8-9 year run. Unfortunately, yeah. As far as them being in news outside of football, in a sense.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm happy they got this. They got Dave there to help him. That's the best thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I was even high on that on someone of that on that selection, even when he got hired. I think we might have talked about it on the show in January, but yeah, and he's young. I think he's like 42, so it's like he's just hitting his stride as a coach. So yeah, for sure, and and that's what ultimately what happens now. With these younger coaches, they just but yeah, this should definitely help him, and I hope that this is just something like a long-term solution for the Panthers. Yeah, because I tell you, and that's I don't even I know people look at Carolina as a joke as far as especially with the Dave Temper era. But I'm I've been feeling it's almost like secondhand embarrassment. I almost feel like, oh my God, I know how that feels. Like having an owner that really is more in the news than the actual team itself. It's refreshing to think now.
Right.
I haven't heard anything from Josh Harris since we went to training camp in almost a month. It's been nothing but talking about football every single day. There's no stories that's outside the lines of football, and it just feels good to just say, hey, we're just talking about football day in and day out, and it's refreshing. It's a breath of fresh air.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and that's what I'm saying. Right. Hey, man. Hey, that's one thing I think about. I just think about you had Cam, all the drama that went there, and you know what I mean. And even with Cam, it was drama. You know what I mean. Towards the end, so it's pick this young man. It's okay, he's got to do a lot. You got to be political. He's got to win. He's got to do a lot. So luckily they got a guy that's gonna be to support him. Even Baker Mayfield. When you look at Geno had drama in the Jets, and then he was able to help him. And then even Baker Mayfield, it was ugly towards the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're backing up. You're coming to the Bucs, and Tom Brady just left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Right. And he had big shoes to fill. And I think, too, and the price, I think he does fit that profile, not polarized as a Cam Newton, obviously, from a credential standpoint, as far as another Heisman Trophy winner from prestigious, from prestigious college in Alabama, won a national championship. So I think he's there. He just gotta have the right person for him. And I definitely hope that this Dave Canales hire will be the right one for them, which I think more likely will be. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Right.
He'll be all right. He'll be all right. He'll be all right. Carolina fans don't turn on Bryce quite yet. Give him some time. He'll get there.
Yeah, he got this year.
Yeah, he do. Yeah, I mean, hey, yeah, he got this year because I don't know, but yeah. So we gotta talk about some emerging player rookies to watch in the NFC South. What you got?
Man, I got 3, and I got Matthew Juno that they just picked up for the Falcons. I got I got Robinson from the Falcons, and I got Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young gonna have a year.
Yeah. So I've raised you one. So obviously, who is going to be thrown to? I think who's going to be a beneficiary of Bryce Young's development? Xavier Legette. He's someone I definitely think. Was 6'3", 227. And man, you got to hear this man talk. Like he needs subtitles. It's so amazing. Like he just talks so country, and it's funny because I know when people always like kind of make fun of me and say I talk like I got like a southern accent. I talk southern. I'm like, no. Xavier Legette is by far the most southernest player in the National Football League, and it's funny to hear, and it's just funny. Like sometimes you they literally would have to have a subtitles when you hear him talk, but it's funny. It's extremely funny. But just even last year, like what he did at South Carolina, I think he had 71 receptions, a little over 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns. So I definitely think he's going to be a good target for Bryce Young. I definitely think And then the fact that I think, if my memory serves correct, I think they traded up to get him because I think he was the last pick in the first round. So I think they traded up for him to get him in there, especially when you looked at just it's a good young rookie wide receiver class, and then he was kind of one of the ones that was right there at that what people were talking about as far as top receivers in his rookie class. So I definitely think he's going to fit that bill, and he's going to be somebody to watch. So if Panthers fans recall another 17 and Jake Delhomme, the one that led you guys to the Super Bowl, he may not necessarily make you forget about Jake Delhomme, but he's another number 17 to remember for this Carolina Panthers squad. So yeah, so definitely shout out to Jake Delhomme. No man think I was gonna go that far tonight with a Jake Delhomme reference, but hey, why not? Why not?
Yeah, I think was it man, I keep messing up his name. Was it Big BJ Robinson for the Falcons? I think he's gonna get offensive player of the year. Big Gene.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Beijing, but I think that he's gonna be offensive. BJ Rob, I think he's gonna be offensive player of the year.
Okay. For sure. But yeah. So we gotta give our record prediction for the NFC South. So so we do from 1 through 4. What you got?
Okay. Number 1, I got the Falcons 11-6. Number 2, boom, 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 I got the Panthers 9-8. Number 3, I got the Bucks 7-10, and number 4, I got the Saints 6-11.
Okay. All right, so I got the Falcons winning the division at 10-7. I said that'd be the 4th seed in the NFC. I got the Bucks at 9-8. I think it's going to get to a point where it could be like a 1-game difference between the two for them. I got the Saints at 7-10, and I got the Panthers at 5-12. I think it's one more year under Canales. 2025 might be a little bit different, but yeah. But yep.
Yeah.
Hey,
What a division. Man, I'm excited to watch the the Panthers. I want to watch the Panthers this year, but I really want to see what these Falcons are going to do.
Yeah. I like what really. Yeah, that's one thing too. I think. Oh, that's right. God, we gotta play all of them. All of them.
Yeah, and I was your boy. I put L's on all of them.
It's all
I
good.
pay every. It's like, damn, the Commanders play everybody.
Yeah, we played them. Yeah, because we played Tampa Bay first game of the season at Tampa Bay. We play Atlanta. I want to say right before Christmas. I know we played the Saints on December the 15th off of our bye, and then the Panthers coming home. They coming to Commanders Field on October the 20th, which is gonna be Darryl Green Day at FedEx. So the Panthers definitely gonna lose. It's Darryl Green Day. We're gonna retire that man jersey for the finally.
That's what's up. Finally,
Darryl Green Day. So yeah.
He still got that he still got that taco. He still got that taco truck outside. Remember, I used to say that all the time to him.
Armand. Was it Armand? Yep.
That's what's up.
We gotta play those viable teams in the South. So yeah, man. So before we head on out, so final words and then social media, upcoming project. What you got going on?
Oh man, great show. Deshaun Morgan, Facebook, DT Morgan 78, Instagram, and appreciate everybody for watching and leaving comments.
For sure. Always comments are always fun to have, regardless of what's said, and and shout out to everybody as far as even checking us out on YouTube, our YouTube shorts that we've been putting out. And yeah, they be talking a little smack. I'm like, all right, we like that. We love the engagement. I love the engagement.
Yeah.
It's cool, because if you try to say we don't know nothing about football, then you know what I'm saying, okay, but you comment, so obviously we know something. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
No disrespect.
Oh, you definitely know. You definitely know. You coach.
But I'm saying it's just in general. I'm just like in general, don't it's all gay. Say what you got to say. But yeah, once again, another great show. Pretty much Facebook, Twitter, Instagram under Couch Coach Live. Podcast available anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, we're there. And then YouTube as well. And then also the one-stop shop for everything, all things Couch Coach Live. The website, couchcoachlive.com. You can check out the podcast there on the podcast feed we got there. Articles, also our social media feeds on the website as well. So yeah, man. So one-stop shop there on couchcoachlive.com. So we will conclude our 6th of our 8th, well, really 9-part series of our NFL preview. We'll be back next week as we'll talk about the AFC East, which is the New England Patriots, the New York Football Jets, the New England Patriots. The Patriots. Then we had the Buffalo Bills and then the Miami Dolphins. And then last but not least, we'll talk about the NFC East, which is comprised of the Philadelphia Eagles, the Arlington football team, the New York Football Giants, and the Washington Commanders. So we'll be doing that all next week. So this has been this has been the NFC South Preview here on Couch Coach Live, and we'll catch you guys next week. And we're out.
You're welcome.